what God says about fear. The devil will try to put fear into your heart to get you to doubt your faith in God. When bad things start to happen in your life and you sense that the enemy is starting to set up snares and traps for your life, don't be afraid or anxious. For God has given us a spirit of power and love and a sound mind, not fear. I'm working on fear today because a certain situation transpired yesterday with my landlord, and you know, she was threatening to evict us and saying things about my children and just being really mean and nasty and rude. But these are the tools and tricks of the devil that he's gonna use to try to put fear in you, especially if you have been chosen and called to do God's will. See, the battle starts in your mind. And they say an idle mind is the devil's playground. Well, that's true, because if you are not focusing all your attention, your mind, body, and soul on Jesus Christ, then you are leaving yourself open for a spiritual attack on your mind. It takes place in the mind. You have to keep your mind filled with the Word of God and positive thoughts, not negative, bad thoughts, evil thoughts, wicked thoughts. You have to stay prayed up. You have to make sure that, you're hearing from God. You have to make sure that you're hearing from God. 1 John chapter 4 verse 18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not been perfected in love." So it's basically meaning people who have fear in them, it's because they've been hurt. It's because, something bad happened to them. They were punished for something out of hate and anger and rage, and so they don't know. And they never really experienced true love. And so we know that God is love. And so if you know God, then you know what love is. So that's what that's what it means when it says, whoever fears has not been perfected in love. If you have fear in your hearts, and I'm not even gonna say that just because you have Jesus Christ in your life that you're not gonna be afraid sometimes. Because see, these are tests. Are tests. It tests your faith. They test your faith, and the devil will try to come at you all kinds of ways, and you have to stand firm. You cannot waver. I know it's hard, but it can be done. For example, and God is just leading me to say this. Yesterday, my landlord came up here threatening to evict us because of complaints about our children, and the devil really knows how to, um, you know, get you fired up and worked up and things like that. But I had to calm my husband down because he had was going off the deep end and was saying some things to her, and I knew that they were not of God. So I called him in the house and I spoke to the landlord, and she was being really, just ghetto and alley. And granted, we probably do need to just go ahead and move, but God has blessed us with this place and everything in our place, and the devil's whole purpose is to take away the things that God has given to you. And I'm like this. Let him take them away, because God has something greater in store for me and for you. So, you know, when I see things starting to slip away, or, you know, people start to say things to try to, instill fear in you, I don't let it bother you. Just know that God has something greater in store for you, and that you have to let something go in order to get what God is trying to give to you. I don't want to make this video long or lengthy, or anything like that. All I want to say is that, you know, fear. Fear, and I'm talking a lot about fear because yesterday I was afraid, and I would be lying if I said that I wasn't. No one wants to hear from their landlord that she's going to put an eviction on your door, you know, or whatever the circumstances are. It's Christmas time, and I have children, and no one should have to go through that. But all in the same breath, when God is trying to pull you out of something, because see, this is what I know. Because of the conflict with my downstairs neighbor, it's like sometimes I find myself thinking about something that was said, or my kids drop something on the floor, and I'm like, oh God, what if she calls the landlord and they complain? That is not a life for me to live in fear. Do you see what I'm saying? That's living in fear. God does not want that for you, for me, or for any of his children. Because he did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. So, if I'm walking around here on eggshells, and I got my kids walking around here on eggshells, those are all spirits of fear. They're not spirits of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay, and in order to to check spirits in people, you know, if the people are not acting godly, and they're coming at you with worldly viewpoints, then that means they're of this world. Because someone who has been blessed with grace and is of God will, for one, they won't be complaining about the noise because they'll have God in them. Just like I did when I lived under someone who had one leg, and he made a lot of noise because he had a disability. See, God gave me grace and gave me wisdom and understanding and compassion. Like when I heard him falling down really hard, like I wanted to run up there and jump and knock on the door and ask him, was he okay? Okay, not call the landlord and complain about the noise to have someone thrown out into the streets. That is of the devil. And see, that is another thing that we have to grasp and understand, is that in these last days, the devil is going to try to attack us in our minds daily, relentlessly. Wanting you to live in fear of getting put out, in fear of being a Christian, practicing your faith openly. Okay, don't ever live in fear. Don't ever allow the devil to place fear into your heart or into your mind. And don't ever allow the devil to control your environment. Okay, I still listen to my gospel music. I still let my kids do, that I don't let them, go out of control with it. But if they want to play with their toys, I let them play with their toys. If they want to walk to the bathroom, even though the floor is squeaky and it might make noise, I let them go. I'm not gonna tie my kids down to you know, a sofa or a bed just to appease some demon working through my neighbor, just to appease some demon in hell working through a human being on this planet. Okay, so like I said before, God does not want us to be fearful of anything. He does not want us to live in fear. He wants us to be he wants us to have love. And it's hard to love, especially when you have things like that going on. Even me, I find it hard to focus, sometimes concentrate. I find it hard to not think negative things about this lady. But I always have to remember that no one is perfect. That even the devil uses me sometimes when I allow it. And I just have to understand that she's a person, and she's probably going through a lot, and she's probably not as strong in the faith as I am. and she can't break everything down and process it the way that she should. Like I said, I'm very blessed to have a husband that takes care of me. And I see her going to work every day, and she works at Walmart, and I'm pretty sure it can be stressful, you know. So I'm just gonna pray for her, pray for Miss Shira downstairs, and I just pray that the situation works out for the both of us. But I am gonna pray God's will be done over this situation because you know this is just not a time for anyone to be homeless. Like I said before, I mean, granted, me and my children aren't going to be homeless, but I mean, if this video is for anyone, and I don't fear that either, because what I do know is that God has me and my family, and that we have unbelievable favor, and God will give me the grace that I need to get through this situation. And I know that God loves me, and that He wants the best for me, and He wants me to do His will, and He wants me to always think positively no matter what. And so this is just an attack once again from the devil to try to instill fear into into my life, and I'm not gonna let it work. It's not gonna work. I have way too many things to be happy for. And like I said before, we are looking for a new place anyway. So granted, it may not be on the terms that I would have liked, but what I do know is everything that God has ever given me, it has always been better than what He has taken or has allowed the devil to take from me. Because if nothing is done, the devil has no power, no real power, no real control. He is a deceiver. And everything that I see around me is an illusion. Okay, so I know that God allows the devil to do things. Okay, and if God allows him to take this house from me, then I know that it is only because He's trying to give me a better one, and in an environment where we don't have to worry about neighbors. I would love a house and not an apartment, so that my kids could run freely and do what they want, and I wouldn't have to worry about noise complaints or things like that. So, like I said before, you know, that spirit of fear, I mean, what is the word I'm looking for? Um, gosh, conquer it. Yes, conquer that spirit of fear, because we are victorious. Okay, so once again, YouTubers, thank you for watching, and don't forget, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. All right, I love you, and I will see you all in the air. Goodbye.